Welcome to My Gene, My Story, the only show that enables women to share their own secrets and insights to wellness, one story at a time.
Thanks, Paul. Hey, everybody. Happy Thursday afternoon. It is mid-November. I like to think of this as our thankful month, even though we need to be thankful at all times. And I am always thankful for all these pioneers in this industry pushing this plant to get out there more. So this is Diane McConaughey from My Jane. Welcome to My Jane, My Story. Our mission is to unite and empower women through community, education, and exploration of cannabis solutions to address our biggest health concerns like sleep, pain, and stress. There is so much overwhelming information out there, so we decided we needed to come together and share stories by creating My Jane, My Story. This is a place to talk about real life experiences so we can be better and do better by helping one another. Every journey is unique, every path is special, and we are extremely grateful to have our guest here to share with all of us. This is a non-judgmental space where every question is necessary to learn and shift our perspective on this plant. We are sharing stories from experts and everyday My Jane community members. Our guests are making major differences in their lives and the lives of those around them by including cannabis as a wellness option or recreation as part of their daily routine and lifestyle. So today I'm so excited because we are talking about food and cannabis. These are two of my favorite things, which you guys hear me say all the time. Um, so it's just a great time. It's a great day for me. So we have a great chef here who began his career in 1998 when he opened his own restaurant in Oklahoma. Since then, he has traveled and studied culinary arts overseas and throughout the United States. In addition to pursuing his culinary passions, he has also been catering since the year 2000. Chef has had the honor of catering for government and city officials, so it's no surprise then that he's also spent time as being a private chef for celebrities and athletes. In 2010, while still attending culinary school, he opened a barbecue restaurant in Long Beach. He then became an American Culinary Federation member and has participated in several volunteer events with the ACF. This hardworking chef has won numerous cooking events, barbecue awards, Cajun Creole say that 3 times fast, Cajun Creole Awards, and many other awards to date. His overseas experience is powerfully displayed in his finished culinary works. He also brings to us his own line of infused CBD culinary products and educates people on the benefits of cannabis and foods as opposed to smoking. He believes that with proper extraction methods, his products produce calming, yet functional quality that most people are looking for. So please welcome with me today, Chef Matthew Stockard. Hi, Chef Matt. How are you?
How you doing? Wow, who is that guy you just? Wow.
That is this great guy sitting across from me.
Well, I'm looking around the room like, who is this guy? I must meet him.
Well, thanks for coming in today because I know you're coming from afar and you're not right around the corner. So I appreciate you being here.
I mean, thanks for having me.
Yeah. So, and I have had the pleasure of coming to one of your events and trying some of your amazing food. So
I appreciate it.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about you and what got you started in the culinary field.
Oh man, I've always wanted to do one or two things my whole life. It was either be like a forensic scientist or cook food, and
two completely different things.
You know what? Honestly, science. Like I've always been fascinated how like they'll find a dead body and they could tell you how it happened, and the science behind it. And then growing up studying food, it was like food is science.
That's true. That is true.
So it was just another form of science and cooking one.
Good. Well, and what got you started? I mean, did you have somebody in your family that taught you how to cook, or did you just try yourself?
You know what? In high school, I think when my grandfather got sick, I moved in to help my grandmother.
Oh, wow.
Out. She was still working. My grandfather, was getting sick. So just her cooking and trying to help her out.
Nice.
I just found a passion for it, and it kind of just came all
just
into
kept
fruition.
going from there.
Yeah. Just kept going.
Wow. And then how did you segue into cannabis as part of because obviously in the beginning you weren't doing cannabis.
I think like in 94, 90, I'll say I graduated in 95. So maybe like 94, one of my uncles used to grow and we would pick the plants and stuff and he would give me some. And one day me and my buddies threw some cannabis in some barbecue sauce and boiled it.
Oh, wow.
And we had the shits and giggles.
Literally, right? Well, that's cool, though.
For a long time. And so I did that for a few years and, kind of made a name for myself. And then it kind of went away. And then when I came back from overseas, one of my buddies was like, what next? And I was like, well, I'm headed to Dubai to open up a restaurant in a hotel. And he was like, I think cooking with cannabis is going to be big again. And I was like, nah, man, nobody's not going to have it. And he showed up at my door with two big bags of cannabis, and
There you go.
I started making products. And then what happened was I started getting overbooked. And one day, my mom was like, "You're getting too busy." She was like, "Why don't you just sell the stuff that you use, and anybody could make it?" And I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh, a light bulb went off." And
Nice.
so that's where we're at today.
And you've been doing that for how long now? How long have you been infusing? Quite a
Probably
while.
full time since like 2014 is when I
Okay.
came back from overseas.
But you started it in the 90s,
In the
which I
90s,
mean,
yeah.
cannabis wasn't, yeah, it was just
Yeah,
recreational,
it was
just smoke a
I
joint,
mean,
you know.
back when it came in a brick and it had seeds and you had to peel it
Oh
apart,
my
there wasn't no
gosh.
such thing as chronic or any
Yeah.
of that stuff.
was
It
just
was just bricks.
get what you get,
Get
right?
what you get. Yeah,
Wow,
pick
and
out the
then
seeds.
what a great thing for you to just like, oh, let's try this out and see what happens. And look at you,
And it worked out.
an inventor.
Most definitely.
Well, can you tell us, or can you tell the listeners about the benefits of edibles and why you feel it's better than smoking?
You know what? It's not even that I feel that it's better. I just feel that it's an alternative.
Okay.
Like, believe it or not, I don't smoke cannabis.
Yeah, I know. I've heard you say
It's
that.
two totally
Cool.
different feelings.
Right.
To me, smoking is a head high, ingesting it is a body high.
Okay.
As a chef being on my feet, it just helped me with my back and my feet. So once I
Yeah.
seen what it did for me personally, when somebody would tell me they had the same problem, I would suggest it and they would try it and they would say, hey, this stuff really works.
Good.
So I just feel it's a little bit more discreet.
Yeah.
The mayor a few years ago had a secretary, and she contacted me, and she would just say how she got a lot of phone calls. People would cuss her out. She was like, "Look, I'm not the mayor. I just answered the man's phone." But she just talked about how I made her a cannabis coffee creamer, and it really helped her. And one day,
cool.
the mayor noticed and was like, "There's a difference in you." And she was like, "Let me put something in your cup." And of course, she told him what it was.
Oh, okay,
and
good.
he was okay to try it.
Good.
And she was like, they had a good laugh because she was like, the
Surprised, I
surprise,
imagine, right? 'Cause-
And it was just like, when people call and cursing and
Yeah.
with all our problems, you could just,
Oh gosh.
who cares?
Right,
You know what I
because
mean?
well, and that's the great thing about CBD is you can still function on it, right?
Oh,
You're
most
not
definitely.
if it's THC edibles, then you pretty much take it and you go to bed, or you're not able to function. As well.
It kind of just depends on how it's dosed and what the general public doesn't know that there's a difference between when a product is made with flour and when it's made with distillate. Distillate is more like it's pure 99.9%, THC. It's like tree sap.
Okay.
And a lot of companies use that because it's easier to measure, when you're making mass products. You could just make 10 gallons of oil, add so many drops to this, the measurement. But when you use flour, it's hard to scale because flour is always going to fluctuate with
Right.
the potency.
Right.
But when if you put the flour in the olive oil and let it steep for a certain amount of hours, hold it at a certain temperature, it's going to get all the benefits of the cannabis, the terpenes,
Okay.
the flavor profiles, and the CBD that's in it, and the THC.
Okay.
So one has a little bit of everything, and one is just pure THC.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel that there's a time and place for everything. There are some people, cancer patients, people with severe problems that just need THC.
Right.
And then there are some people that, need the full plant. So I think it's just coming down to educating people. And I think edibles are going to get to the point where you're going to have to specify whether it's flour or whether it's distillate.
Okay. Well, can you tell people what distillate is?
So distillate is basically like when they take the plant and they process it and they just strip it of all its nutrients and the end result is like a syrup, a pure THC syrup. And
Okay.
a lot of times it's over 99.1%. A lot of them are 99.5, 99.9. And I just don't feel your body is made to ingest that.
Yeah.
I feel when people have these horrible edible stories, it's because it's pure oil, and when your stomach and liver digest it, it just boom, the floodgates are open.
Right.
And with flour, it's more of a natural progress. You're getting the terpenes, you're getting all the CBD, you're getting everything together. So it's more of a more relaxing climb and no crash, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, and that's good because I know some people. I'm sure you've heard so many crazy edible stories. all the time.
I spend half my time trying to convince people that I can 100% guarantee you that you're going to eat this and you're going to be all right.
You're gonna feel good,
And
right?
you're going to feel good, but it just sucks that edibles have this horrible.
Right, I
you know,
know.
especially-
And I try to tell people when they, because they're like, I had a friend that gave me something and
it's
I
always
was
a friend.
freaking out and I will never do that again. I'm
Right.
like, well, but you don't even know what it was. You
Right.
don't know how much. That's today, everything has to be labeled and dosage and all that,
Right.
correct? I
No.
mean,
Yeah, legally it's supposed to, but you still got people making, brownies, Rice Krispie treats at home,
Of
and they're
course.
guessing the milligrams.
Right.
Without a lab and scientifically knowing, when somebody tells you it's 100 milligrams, they don't know they're guessing.
Yeah.
And
That's just it's a fine line to
right,
walk, right?
right.
Well, so with which we have them here. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see these. These are some of the infused products that he has that he makes now. So why don't you tell us a little bit about some of your products?
So these are, the CBD line. We we took a chill pill on the THC line just because we're trying to figure out how to scale with flower. Like I said again, I don't want to use distillate. I'm one of the people that could have been licensed like 2 years ago, and I just don't want to use distillate.
Yeah.
And I don't want to make a product I can't stand behind 100%
Yeah.
as a chef. So
Right.
I mean, could have been in the market 2 years ago and probably be doing way better than I'm doing now. But I wouldn't sleep good at night, if you know what I
Right.
mean. So I'd
Yeah.
rather pump the brakes and wait until I could really find a way to do it the way I want to do it,
Good.
and kids and elderly people and everybody can use it and be comfortable with it, if you know what I mean. So
Yeah.
right now we're focused on the CBD stuff, and these are just like some CBD honeys. I have a habanero honey, I have a regular honey, I have a cinnamon honey, I have a hemp
Yeah.
butter, I have a coconut oil, I have a vegetable oil, a chili oil, a balsamic vinaigrette, a barbecue
Wow.
sauce. And these are just like all the stuff that the average person would use in their home, with the vegetables. You can make your own vinaigrettes,
Yeah.
marinades, butter, same thing, eggs, cookies,
Yeah.
the coconut oils, your vegan option. You
Mhm.
can use cookies, you can cook eggs with it. So I just try to
Nice.
think of all the things that you could do a million things with.
Mhm.
And I use a lot of honey when I cook, as a natural
Yeah.
sweetener,
Right.
for savory and sweet. So it was
Yeah.
just something that was near and dear to me. And I always try to do things that are near and dear to me.
And all your products are only CBD, just so people know, right?
Yep, right now
And what are the
everything is.
what's the milligram counts on, like on a serving or something out of one of your
So
products?
right now everything is 250 milligrams per bottle
Okay.
and 25 milligrams per serving.
Okay.
10 servings per bottle.
Okay, good. And so I think that's so great because then people can cook with it the way they
They
want.
want to, right?
I think that's so brilliant because sometimes with edibles you're kind of stuck, right? With I don't know if I want this ingredient in it, or and so that's this way people can create.
No, and then, oftentimes people ask me for recipes, and I try to explain to people like it's not about you cooking new recipes. It's about you taking your family recipes and your favorite recipes and just substituting, a certain amount of, if it calls for olive oil, substitute this olive oil for that olive oil, or mix
Yeah.
a little bit of this with that, and like don't worry about like a whole new,
Yeah, you don't have to start
recipe. You
over,
don't have to start over.
right?
Just uh, make some adjustments to your
Yeah,
recipe,
and
and
it's
see that.
and you're going to have the benefits of CBD in
benefits of
addition. I
CBD.
mean, that's the great part.
Well, and you won't taste it.
Yeah, and even better.
Yeah, you won't taste it.
Typically with CBD, do you taste? I mean, because I've had CBD edibles before, gummies, and I haven't really noticed, because of the difference with the
I've
THC.
tasted some and it's tasted like chalk. Um,
That's not good.
It kind of just comes down to the infusion method, or the method that the CBD is introduced to each individual product,
Okay.
and the amount.
Yeah.
Like 250, that's not a lot, and you won't taste it. But I think probably once you get them to like 1,000 milligrams,
Yeah.
it's going to be hard to mask the taste.
True. That's true.
So
Well, and so let's talk about your infusion methods. How do you infuse, or how is the CBD infused?
It's basically each product is heated up to a certain temperature and held at that temperature, and then the CBD is introduced to it, and then there's an agitation that's done to it, which is called homogenization, to make sure that it's distributed evenly throughout the product,
Okay.
and held at a temperature until it dissipates and it's all there, and still shaken up and blended and mixed some more with big mixing machines,
Yeah.
and then it's put in bottled up.
I think I need to come and see this because
Yeah.
I'm not a chef like you,
Right.
but I do a lot of private events and
don't do it.
some in-home classes and stuff, and so as I said, food is my thing. So I would love to come and
Right.
watch.
And everything is lab tested, and we're going to get
Cool.
to the point where maybe in the next batch we're going to start putting the batch numbers. Like these have QR codes on them right now, which will take
Okay.
you to a recipe,
Oh, nice.
but the new QR code will take you straight to the lab results.
Oh, okay. So you have a COA, or what's called
Yeah,
a certificate
yeah,
of.
yeah,
So
COA.
tell people about the COA, because I know a lot of people don't know about
Right.
that, what it means
Well,
and what
COA
it is.
is just saying that it's what's in there is in there, and there's like no like additives or anything like that. So like you're not using like dirty CBD, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
there are people maybe like I think this stuff is so new. Like some people, there were a group of people that were going to take people's stuff off the shelves and testing it, and a lot of stuff was failing the test.
Yeah.
Not that it had anything harmful in it, it just didn't have the amount of CBD in it that they were said to do it.
Right.
And my whole take on it was, I don't feel that any of these companies did it maliciously. I just don't think everybody understood homogenization
Right.
and how to, evenly distribute it throughout the product.
Okay.
So I had an argument, well, not an argument, but that came up in a discussion last night. And I'm like, I don't think anybody is putting 100 milligrams, but really putting 10. I don't think anybody is doing that. It comes back to science again.
Right,
People
right.
have to know how to get this stuff to mix evenly throughout, and it's
Right.
not easy.
Right.
It is. It's not easy.
Oh, I'm sure you've had a lot of
I made
fails.
a lot of mistakes.
Oh, I'm
you know what I'm
sure.
saying?
I'm sure.
And it just take a lot of trial and error and figuring
Yeah.
it out and honing it in to get it right.
Well, and that's just cooking in itself, anyways,
No,
right?
most
When you try
definitely.
something new, it is scientific, and it is,
Most definitely.
it's all trial and error. And
most
so,
definitely.
thank you for keep going with it.
I appreciate it.
Well, and so people know what the COA. The COA is a certificate of authenticity, and
correct.
so when you get a product, anyone out there, you want to make sure there is a COA because then you know it has been tested, whether it's CBD, hemp, cannabis,
Cannabis,
THC.
anything, yeah.
It's very important. So just so everybody knows out there, that's what
Yeah,
you want to look for.
Most stores will have them. Most websites will have them.
Yeah.
And before you buy some, just ask where you can find it at.
Right. I
and-
mean, you want to
and-
know what
yeah.
you're getting, and you want to know.
Yeah,
it's-
nobody's out to hide it from you. So
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
maybe some of the people are
maybe
out there,
some.
but,
I
but
mean,
you're
you know
not.
what? I'm honest, John. So I'd like
Yeah.
to think I like to give everybody the benefit.
Yeah, well, and then
Yeah.
that, like you said, it does. I mean, things change with the cooking process, and
Correct.
and how did you learn about homogenation? Is that from?
Just dealing with the labs and stuff.
Okay.
Turning cement stuff and not quite, and sitting down with them. Well, hey Matt, what are you doing? How are you doing it? Telling them,
Yeah.
and they're like, well, this is getting pretty popular. We need to help you figure it out because we got other people, coming next. So just trying a variety of different methods,
Good.
and finding a lab that would say, sometime I was there 4 or 5 times a week, and this were tests were like $300.
Oh wow.
And
yeah.
so I found a lab that cared enough, that I cared enough to get it right. So they
Right.
were like, we want to help you get this figured out. Let's just
Good.
test as many products as we can for you until we get it right. And then, we'll
Good.
come back to the drawing board. And, they were great for that.
And I'm so glad to hear that. And we are. I mean, I always say in this cannabis industry, we're all in it together.
Most definitely.
We're not against each other. We all want this to go forward, and so I'm so glad that somebody helped you out because
Most
you're
definitely.
helping other people out.
No, most definitely.
And it is expensive. It is,
expensive.
and it's when you try things and they don't work, you
Right.
lose all that money and you have to start over. So, I'm thankful for that lab that you that you found and they brought you here. So, well, can you give people any tips on infusing food if they wanted to do it at home, if they had some maybe some flour or, they wanted to make some butter or some oil? Do you have any tips you can give people?
I mean, yeah, they have.
I mean, they were not going to know the milligram count like we just said,
Well,
right?
no, there
But-
is because you could buy a tincture, over the
okay,
counter.
that's true.
You could buy
Yeah.
over the counter tincture, and at that point, you can just cook what you want. And like some of the other chefs, they just cook what they want and then add drops of tincture on it. But
Yeah, true.
that doesn't. It's not fun to me. If
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
you like to go
Right.
to the ground level,
Right,
right?
I like to go to the ground level. I don't like nothing the easy way. But
Well, see, I have a magical butter machine.
so that's perfect.
It's a
And
great thing.
Magic Butter is a great machine.
Yeah.
I can't wait till they make industrial size.
Right, I know,
I was
right?
talking to Chris at Magic Butter the other day, and I said, I need a
big one.
I need a big one, like
can
to
make a
fill up a
vat.
room. And he was like,
Right.
we're not quite there yet, but you're top of the list. So shout out to Magic Butter.
Right, I know. Plug for them. 'Cause
Yeah,
that is a great
it's
machine.
probably hands down to one of the best machines because it's like
Yeah.
a crock pot and a blender in one.
I know.
I mean,
that
it's
thing.
like the greatest thing ever.
That's like my favorite piece in my kitchen.
Right. No, definitely. So a person could, whatever they wanted to infuse, they could add it to a Magic Butter machine and, add drops of tincture to it and, cut the machine on it and let it
Yeah.
mix it together. But just remember that all chemicals don't mix. So it depends on if you have a water soluble tincture or
Okay.
oil based MZT tincture. Some things are going, like a salad dressing, it's going to want to separate.
Yeah.
So
So the infusion will be a little bit different in that sense, then, like you said.
well, it might mix
right?
at that particular moment, but let it sit for an hour or two.
Okay.
It's going to reseparate. So you just have to know what it is, the contents of what it is that you're mixing, and the type of tincture that you have. Is it water soluble or oil based?
Okay. Okay. Well,
And
that's good to know.
You have to decide that
Yeah.
for yourself. And so I'll be adding like a lot more information like on my websites because
Mm-hmm.
like I want people like to really know, and I want to answer a lot of questions for people because So it's a lot of stuff that's going to be, going on that I
Good.
hope I can answer a lot of questions for people.
Well, so tell people your website right now. We'll say it again at the end, but
ChefMattCooks.com.
Okay. And it is a great website, I will say.
I appreciate it.
And Chef Matt does a lot. I mean, I noticed you have classes, you have catering, you have events, you have all kinds of stuff that you do. So, and you guys, he's a really nice guy. So
I appreciate
I think
that.
if you have any questions, he's a great person to reach out to. And I have seen, it's funny, Matt, because I've been pretty involved in the cannabis industry for a few years just because I had cancer. And so cannabis was a big part of my healing.
Oh, wow.
And I remember seeing your name.
Wow.
And
really?
I finally was like, I need to call this guy.
Oh,
And
well,
I'm so glad I did.
I'm honored and flattered.
Yeah. I mean,
I really take pride, in what I do. And, it's not about money. It's really about, helping people.
right.
And I have a nephew that has autism. One of my friends' sons has autism, and just using it, like my family didn't want me to use my nephew as a guinea pig.
Right.
But my friend was like, hey, I haven't taken my son out. The bus picks him up in front of the house. He goes to school and he comes back. I can't go to Walmart with him.
Yeah.
And one day I had made her some THC butter because he loves grilled cheese. Sometimes autism kids, they stick to something. And she said she had just happened to make him, like, his brothers didn't like the kid. I mean, he was that horrible,
yeah.
And she said one day, she had made him a grilled cheese, and she was like, her husband was in the service, he was overseas, and she was like, look, I have to go to Walmart. There's some things we need around the house. And she said she took him, and she said, like, she almost cried because he was like, okay. And she said they walked through Walmart and they were holding hands. When people got close, he would squeeze her hands. But she said she saw the difference, like, that day. And forever since then, things have changed for her. And she said even to the point where the teachers noticed and the other parents noticed, and they would ask her, and she would say, oh, it's just a combination of, the pills she's taking are working. She was like, there's no way in hell I was going to tell anybody that I was giving my kid cannabis.
Of course not.
And she was like, as much as she wanted to help some of the parents because she liked the parents and the kids, but she was like, I wasn't about to tell anybody.
Right.
And it was sad, but I'm glad we're to the point now where she's able to tell people. And now I get a lot of parents. I had a lady hit me up a couple days ago. Her mom had Alzheimer's, kind of stopped eating. I made her some stuff, and her mom is eating now, responding a little bit better when you call her name. Now she'll look in your direction.
Good.
And she's like, over the last week or two, she's seeing a lot of difference, the appetite.
Nice.
Like she said, she asked her if she wanted more, and she said, yeah. She was like, you went from not eating to eating. So it's always great to hear those stories, and those stories are worth more than any amount of money.
Oh, absolutely, because you're doing your life's passion, your life's work, and
Most
then
definitely.
you're helping people, and I'm so glad to hear that. You were able to help one of your family members even who, and that's the thing is that, I know back in the day it's, don't give it to your kids. And,
Right.
that is something that definitely, if you are going to give something to your kids, make sure
Right.
that you
Make
know
sure,
what you're
right.
doing, or you talk to someone that, there are a lot more physicians out there now getting into cannabis and CBD and nurses and all that stuff. So I think that's great. Thanks for sharing that story.
Right. And keep in mind, I try everything myself a few times before anybody else does.
Yeah.
Before I give it to a friend, anybody,
Yeah.
I make sure I take it, for a few days, and before I let anybody touch it.
Well, yeah, and that way you know that it's
Right.
it's a good product, and
Most
you're
definitely.
not giving somebody something that's not going to be good for them.
Exactly.
So what's next for Chef Matt?
Well, the next event you can catch me at here in Orange County is CBD Sundays. That will be November 24th. It's a fully infused CBD brunch on a rooftop here in Orange County. You can go to cbdsundays.com and purchase tickets. You can use My Jane and to get a discounted ticket, and I think you'll like it. Rooftop, hotel style brunch. Everything's infused. Well, I don't want to say everything. I say like 75 things are infused. I don't feel it's a need to infuse everything.
Yeah.
But everything is kind of low dose because it's a buffet, so I don't know how much you're going to eat.
Yeah.
But everything is low dose, and people
And it's
feel
good.
the vibe, and
Good. Yeah.
relax, and everybody's walking around and bubbly,
Yeah.
and it's a great thing. Eat all you want. There are vendors there for you can shop, and a lot of stuff. We have yoga, we have meditation, music. So it's a really good vibe. And
Yeah,
you
it
know,
is, and you
you were
invited
there,
me to
right,
one. I
right,
know, and
right.
it was just a beautiful.
and I'm going to have
event.
more vegan options.
Good, I'm glad to hear that.
That one
I probably
was a
should have told you that before.
Yeah, that one was a heavy Korean barbecue style, But we're going to focus more on a lot more vegan options.
Oh,
so.
good. Because in Orange County, I'm telling you, there's so many people
I
here
know.
now that are vegetarian,
No,
vegan.
most definitely, I get it.
You know,
And I'm
so-
going that way a little bit too.
Good.
So
Well, if you need help, I'm here. I'm a vegan chef, so I can help you
I
too.
will most definitely.
We
be
need to
leaning
cook
into
together,
it.
Matt.
We should. We should. We
I
most
would love
definitely
that.
should.
Yeah, well, you guys, you need to check out CBD Sundays. So CBDSundays.com.
CBDSundays.com.
And then ChefMattCooks.com.
ChefMattCooks.com.
So
Chef
check him
Matt
out.
2.0 on
Yeah.
IG and all that. I'm
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah, you guys need to check him out because he's got wonderful products and a really great guy and just down to earth with
I
what
appreciate
you
it.
know. So yeah, thanks for being here and
Very welcome.
we're
Thanks
so
for having
excited
me.
to have. I'm so excited. I don't know
I
about
appreciate
anyone
it.
else.
I'm,
but,
I'm
you know.
excited too. Thank
Yeah,
you very
anything
much.
food related. So thanks to you guys for being here today and being a great part of the My Jane community. And I just want to remind you, if you're listening, please rate, review, and subscribe so more people can find out about My Jane, My Story, and own their own wellness. So I'm just going to give you my little factoid at the end, something I found. And it kind of goes with today. So many people pop an ibuprofen or other anti-inflammatory drug after a minor injury, headache, or joint pain. CBD, however, has been found to work in similar ways to these over-the-counter remedies without some of the harsh side effects like stomach ulcer and gastrointestinal bleeding. So check out some of Chef Matt's products. You can get some goodness in a couple different ways. So we have these great honeys and wonderful things that you can try. Hemp butter, which I'm going to try these. I'm going to probably try these tonight. So thank you, Chef Matt.
You're very welcome.
And tune in next week. We will have our new My Jane president, Helene Blanchette, and a couple of other surprise guests to join her. We will talk about the upcoming forecast of My Jane and a great worldwide charity My Jane is aligning with that is helping female survivors of human trafficking. More greatness of women helping women, which is what we're all about. So thanks again, everyone. Thanks, Chef Matt.
Thank you for
Paul.
having me.
Have a great day, everyone, and we will see you next week.
Thanks for tuning in to My Jane, My Story. If you want to learn more, you can join the My Jane community at myjane.com. Get instant access to our Facebook group, Facebook community, educational resources, and updates on My Jane products and special events. And for personal attention right now, you can also pick up the phone and call 833-MY-JANE2. That's MYJANE2. And speak to your own wellness concierge because it's time to own your wellness. Be well.
I'm on the observation deck of the Empire State Building to demonstrate how much material Waste Management recycles. As North America's largest residential recycler, last year alone, Waste Management recycled 12.9 million tons. How much is that? Let's do the math. Carry the 6. It's enough to fill this building more than 27 times. With experience